Hi everyone, it's Mike here. Do you think I'm losing weight? Welcome back to my YouTube channel and another of my 7 days of Halloween projects. So today I'm going to be creating a double page art journal spread in my Strathmore multimedia journal. So let me turn over to my overhead camera and show you what I'm going to create. So this is my Strathmore multimedia journal. A bit worse for wear now, very well loved. Open at a double page spread. I nearly said double age. Need more of this, I think. So to begin with, I'm going to do some stenciling with some modelling paste. So I've got my Totes Amaze Bats stencil. So I'm going to lay that down, open up my texture paste, grab some of that with a spatula, and then I'm going to put a big dollop in that corner and then just whiz it across. And then lift it up. So hopefully you can see that. I've also managed to get it all over my fingers. That's not good. Just to start off with. Start as we mean to go on. So it's going to be one of the messy pages today, I think. Okay, let's lift that up so you can just see the texture on the page there. And I'm going to come from the top right. I'm going to come across to the bottom left over here. So grab some more. This is structure paste from Imagination Crafts, a UK based company here in the UK, obviously. It's early in the morning. That's all I'm going to say. It's early in the morning. Coffee definitely has not kicked in yet. So I'm just swiping across. I'm going to lift that up there. And I think that's going to be pretty much it for that texture paste or the structure paste. So obviously I can't work on top of that while it's still wet, so I'm going to dry that off, clean off my stencil, clean off my spatula, because we don't want this stuff drying on the stencils because it just ruins them, and then I'll be right back. So the texture paste is pretty much dry now, dry to the touch. And I've just clipped the pages down because they were starting to curl in a little bit, which is not what we wanted. So what I want to do now is just start adding some colour to the page. Now, because this is a Halloween themed page, hence the bats, then I'm going to use some Halloweeny kind of colours. So I've gone into my collection and I've pulled out some, this is Lime Sherbet, and we've got Burning Bonfire, and we've got Royal Purple. Now these are all paints from Indigo Blue. Now the Lime Sherbet and the Royal Purple are both metallic paints, so they've got mica in, whereas the Burning Bonfire is matte. There's no mica in there at all. Get rid of that. But what I've also got is I've got a Raven Black, which is also a metallic. Now when this goes on, it's not jet black, it's like a real deep, almost hematite grey, like a metallic charcoal colour, which is beautiful. So that's what I'm going to use to start off with. So I'm just going to open up the pot, grab a brush. I've got some water just off camera to my right here. There you go, just to do some sound effects. So I'll just dry the brush off. I've got some brushes in the water already because I hadn't cleaned it from the last time. And I'm going to add some of the black paint just onto my work surface here. And I've got some water, so I'm going to loosen it up, make it nice and fluid. It's probably too shiny on the camera to see how that's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab it around the page and over here. and then I'm going to spritz it with water and just start working it into the page. And then the same over here, work it in. So we'll get the dark colour collecting around the edges. And if we need any more, around the edges of the texture, give it a quick spritz, and then we're going to lift it and let it run. And then just again at the top, just to create a little bit more. And then let's just encourage it to come down there. Let it drip. You can tap it to encourage more drips. But I think that's fine. I'm happy with that so far. So I'll just catch that at the edge. Just wipe up the excess. Drop that in the water. Just give that a quick wipe, and then let's get that dried off. Okay, so that's now dry. Now you can see there's a little bit of sheen now because we've watered it down. It's not really strong, but there's a nice little kind of sheen in that background. So I'm going to kind of repeat that process with some of the other colours, but not hugely. So I'm going to add in a little bit of the royal purple because it is Halloween and these are Halloweeny kind of colours. To clean off my brush, grab some of that purple paint, drop it down onto the work surface, add in some water to make them really nice and fluid, and then I'm going to start just introducing a little bit around the kind of edges of where we've already been, and then I'm going to start hitting it with water straight away. Now because we're using acrylic paint, then these are going to be permanent when dry. So now we've got plenty of water on that page. Just drop that back into the water pot. And then I'm going to hit it with water once again. And again, let's see if we can encourage a little bit of that purple to run. There we go. Don't want a huge amount of runnage or drippage, but just get it to come down a little bit, just so it blends into the page, just a tad. And then wipe up the excess and dry that off. Okay, so they're pretty much dry now, so I want to do the same kind of thing with the lime green. Okay, but maybe not quite as much as this. So let's just take some of that You can already see the water in it. And then again, just add some of the green kind of highlights throughout the page. I'm not going mad with the green. And again, before it gets too dry, I'm just going to loosen it up. And we'll get some drippage going on the page. Excellent. And then again, clean up, dry off, and I'll be right back. Right, so the green's now dry. So just looking at the page, it almost looks like a kind of night sky up there with kind of trees that are made up of clouds of bats. Can you see that? It's not going to stay that way though. So, and I want to introduce my focal point. So I'm going to do a little bit of a cluster over here. So yes, we have this gentleman here. Those of you may recognise him. This is Edgar Allan Poe, who's the author of The Raven. So what I want to do is I'm going to just distress the edge of Mr. Poe with some ink. And then I'm going to physically distress the edge with a scruffing tool. Because, you know, Halloween's all about decay and distress. Of course, Mr. Poe wrote the famous poem. Coffee's still not kicked in yet. The Raven, which this is what is going to be the basis of my page today. Get rid of the snow, and we can add some more distress. I'm just blowing away the snow that's created when you scruff up the edges with your paper or your card. Okay, so I've also got a couple of pages of dictionary text. So this one has the word terror on it, and this one has the word raven down at the bottom there. And I think this is an extra page that I tore out at the same time. That I didn't mean to. Yes, so that can go over there. So what I want to do is I want to just position Mr. Poe on the page just like so. And then I can rip the edge. Just like that, and just come down the edge really carefully. That's it, like that, and then we can tear about there, all the way down. And then just, we've already got the description for the word raven, which is fine. So that's going to create a little bit of a border all the way around on that page there. But I've also got some other bits that I'm going to use as a cluster. So what I want to do, just add some glue just down into the middle, like that. And then I have a moon, which I think would go rather well. And I'm using spirit glue because this will stop all the pieces from buckling. So where do we want that moon to go? We want to go in there, like so. And then I've got a few other little pieces of ephemera that I'm going to just distress up. I haven't distressed the moon just yet. In fact, let's just do that now. And then I can go around, just do the edges of this. Really grungy it up. I can do the rest of that bit in a second. I just wanted to add a little bit of that just on the back of that. So these ephemera pieces are just ones from, I think they're from the Tim Holtz Ideology Halloween collection from a couple of years ago. But don't quote me on that one, I think so. And then we've got another, let's just stick a little bit more glue under there. Another little round kind of eye bit, because it just goes. Like so, about there. What else we got? We've got this piece here as well, so we'll grab that. Bit of glue. And I think I'm going to tuck that just underneath. And I'm conscious we've just covered up the raven, haven't we? Okay, let's move that out of the way and put that there. Yeah, happy with that. That's right, so let's stick all that back down. Like so. The thing with the spirit glue is that it does tend to create strings like the glue gun does, but it's fine because they just rub off. Okay, so now that's down. Let me come back in with that distress. Whoops. And then for this side, I want to create a piece over this side. So I've got another couple of pieces from the ephemera collections, but I also created this just to go with the Poe. And again, I'm going to distress the edge and then come in with the distressing. So deliberately left a little bit of a white border all the way around it. And then we'll just do the same thing with the Distress ink. Knock back some of that colour, make it a bit grungy. Now, because these are water-based inks, if you grab a wet wipe, you can kind of soften and just encourage the ink just to wick a little bit into and go right the way over, look. It will sink in straight away, but you can just activate it a little bit and just blend it. But this is a laminated piece, so that wouldn't work. It's from just two different collections, I think. I think one's from the ephemera, one's from the layers. But like I said, don't quote me on that. Right, so let's create our little cluster about here. Just a 3-piece cluster, that's all it needs. It doesn't need a huge amount. So what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of glue there, and then I can lay that one over the top. And then I can add glue there, because that's where our raven piece is going to go. Just like that. Okay, so bring the page back in, and then I can flip that over and add my glue. Like I said before, there's a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so a bit of a clean and tidy. That should do us. So we've used the raven bit, but I didn't use the bit that said terror, so I don't think we need to bother with that. So what I want to do now is just bring in some of that orange colour. So this is where we start to unify things. So this is the burning bonfire. So I'll take a little bit of that. Again, grab the brush. And then add some water. Now this orange is matte, but when you wet it, it does become a little translucent. So just add some splatters. Just make it a little bit more wet. And I'm kind of following just where the colours are. So I'm following up where the green is, and then along the bottom. You can always add more water just to loosen it up a bit. That's it. I'm happy with that. We're not finished. We're not finished yet. So let's just get rid of that bit. Bit of a clean, and then we'll get that dry. Clean it off my hands. Give myself a bit of an Arabian glow tan there. Okay. The orange is now dry. Because we're layering acrylic paints, which are permanent, on top of acrylic paints, you don't really get much of the reactivation of the colours. So once you lay a colour down, it stays put once it's dried. So if we'd used water-based colours, like the spritzers, and then added colour on top, they would react with the water in the one that's on top, and then they would react with the colours underneath, which I didn't really want to do today, until now. So, just to add a little bit of dirty grunge, I've got my sandstone spritzer, which is water-based. Now this is the top coat. So what I'm going to do with this, just grab a piece of kitchen towel first, just so I can activate the spray without getting it everywhere. That's it. Just work it out through the nozzle. And then I'm just going to just add a little bit of surface grunge, just to kind of dirty it up a little bit. And then what I can do is with my water, just go back in and loosen it. And then we can get it to drip. And that just grunges the whole page down a bit. Let's get that dried off. Okay, so the beauty of doing that is you can still see the mica underneath. You can see the shine still coming through, even though we've layered non-metallic stuff over the top. I just want to reintroduce a bit of the green. So I do have another lime green spritzer, and then I'm just going to just add a little bit more. Just up there and on the edges. Okay, so that green is now done. You can still see the bats in the background. You've still got that mica shining through, just gives you a little bit of a lift. But you've got those great kind of oranges. It's not so much of the purple now showing through, which is fine by me because I'm not a huge purple fan. But, just to show I'm not biased, let me just, there we go. Just in a couple of areas. Let's just give it a bit of a blast. Just to kind of pick it out. So I do think it tends to darken the page down again. Okay, so I think I'm in very serious danger now of overworking the page. So what I need to do is just lift it a little bit. So let me just grab some white acrylic. This is Deco Art Americana. It's a little bit dark up here now. So I know I've added water-based spritzers on top of here now, but if I just add some kind of white splatter, that's a bit too runny. Went a bit too far there, I think. That's more like it. That's just going to help lift the background. Okay, clean up. Somebody said I need an award for the tidiest crafter. Really? Haven't seen what's off camera. Right. Okay, so while that was drying, I just went in with a baby wipe and just very, very gently just went over the top of the bats. And I've just removed a little bit of that surface colour just to kind of reveal those bats again. There we go. So they're now showing back through again. So you can see how those splatters have kind of lifted the page a little bit. Almost look like stars now. But you've still got that metallic shine, which also lifts the page a little bit from the background. So almost happy with that. So what I want to do now is just grab a black pen, and I just want to just kind of add a few kind of scribbles just to kind of break up some of the lines. It just kind of helps to break up There we go. I think it just adds a little bit of kind of doodly, scribbly, almost faux stitching, if you like. I suppose you could add a little bit if you felt that way inclined. But I think that works pretty much fairly well as it is. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's sign and date it. And what date is it today? It's the 2nd of October today. There we go. So, there's my Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, the raven, quoth the raven, nevermore. So I hope you've enjoyed watching that art journal page come together. If you did, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Let's take those clips off. Bye for now.